it has to be a good app, right? There's free couches. Well, when I heard the app was going public via SPAC, I caught myself thinking about that green couch again. And if the app is liked by its users, then it might just be a good investment, right? Well, not so fast. That couch was free. So who made money on that? Sofas aside, I do find their story compelling. We've been hearing rumors of NextDoor listing publicly for 9 months now. And the end of this uncertainty marks one of the final shoes to drop in the recent SPAC and IPO craze, right up there with Robinhood and whatever Bill Ackman will eventually acquire. But the functional purpose of the NextDoor app and a couple of key metrics have me thinking twice about the investment potential. Let's run through it together and let me know in the comments below if you think I'm off base. First question, what's the product being used for? Besides, of course, the obvious sofa giveaways, inside the platform, most of the posts I see fall into one of two buckets. The first bucket, missing pets and found pets. Scrolling through the NextDoor app is like watching Animal Planet. Dog, dog, squirrel, cat, along with words like help, lost, cute, and found. The second bucket is people posting about crime or suspicious characters in the neighborhood. Comments like, this person's socks don't match, and they're in our neighborhood. They must be up to no good. Okay, so get this. In certain neighborhoods, NextDoor tells us they have a 90% penetration rate, meaning 90% of residents are members of the service. But if you dig just a little bit deeper, you'll see that only 50% of those users log into the app on at least a weekly basis. This is important because a huge portion of their revenue is generated through ads, which are heavily influenced by the strength of these metrics. The most valuable, the stickiest customers are those that log in day after day, almost religiously. But it takes a special kind of customer to be that engaged. And it's almost addictive, and that's what NextDoor tries to provide, addictive information. The updates provided by users on NextDoor are often time sensitive. By not checking in regularly, users are missing the main benefit of the app, which is timely updates from neighbors. Remember, I was shook by Robinhood having 300,000 of its 18 million accounts as inactive. So NextDoor's engagement, or lack thereof, does concern me. Now, to their credit, NextDoor is getting those active users to check in 4 times a week. This also confirms my hunch that it takes a unique personality to log in and read about suspicious vehicles and lost parakeets day after day. But those unique people exist, and they're logging in often. NextDoor says it has 12 million daily active users. That sounds great, but those users aren't actually generating much revenue for the company. An important metric here is ARPU, average revenue per user. Here's NextDoor's metrics compared to Twitter and Snapchat. This was in their investor packet, and I think it can be interpreted one of two ways. First, look how much room they have to grow in comparison to Twitter or Snapchat. Or two, look at how little revenue they're generating from their user base. I'm interpreting as the second approach. Okay, well, let's compare the multiples for each of these firms. Price to sales ratio for Twitter and Snapchat are 14 and 35 respectively. What about NextDoor, you ask? Well, with a cap of 4.3 billion after this merger and a revenue of 123 million for 2020, we'll call it a price to sales ratio of 40. Even swapping in enterprise value instead of market cap, enterprise to sales still ends up being a very growthy 28. But I have an even bigger concern than that regarding valuation. NextDoor is your typical software or social media play that thrives on total users and on users that frequently log into the service, right? In NextDoor's case, the user base shot up 50% year over year during the COVID lockdowns. Why? Well, because we were all stuck at home, hyper aware of what was going on in our neighborhoods, and because there wasn't much else to do. And where are we now? The reopening, you have concerts and restaurants and sporting events and vacations. So like so many other software plays in 2020, demand for NextDoor was pulled forward due to COVID. I will bet you one green sofa that the number of NextDoor users for the US is at or near saturation. And user engagement is going to continue to drop off as all of us, even the nosiest of our neighbors, find more fun things to do than be the virtual neighborhood watch. In fairness, I don't use NextDoor on a regular basis. I made an account with them just as part of this investment research. What I saw when I logged in just wasn't for me. Reading about missing pets and suspicious vehicles. And yeah, Amazon packages getting stolen off of porches all the time. I don't need a dedicated app to find that out. But let me list some positives about NextDoor and look at those through your investment filter. First, some of my neighbors are glued to the NextDoor app. I've come to understand from them that NextDoor is the hub of information for the neighborhood. So if I were inclined to find out more about what's happening around me, NextDoor would be the obvious choice. There is no runner-up. That's a plus for them. They own this market. Positive factor number 2, being kind. NextDoor is doing more than most social media platforms in promoting civility. The built-in kindness reminder asks people to reconsider what they were about to post if the app detects it as being racist or combative. This directly addresses a regular criticism of social media. Could this kindness reminder be so simple that it might actually work? Capitalizing on this kindness theme, they're listing under the symbol KIND, kind, after the SPAC merger is complete. Now, call me crazy, but doesn't this seem like a message to the investors that NextDoor is different from other social media? Given all the black eyes Facebook and Twitter have earned over the years, personally, I'm not sure I'll ever hear NextDoor and think of kindness, but my Green Sofa Association is pretty strong. Maybe I'll think of FREE, free. But the company gets an A for effort in their branding. Look, every social media platform has problems. It's the nature of the internet discussion as a whole. It's not specific to NextDoor. And from an investment perspective, does having bad Apple users ruin a company's chance to make us money? If it does, then how did Facebook become a trillion-dollar company? And finally, a growthy, new age play like this will probably see big jumps in the share price post-merger. I predict that people who buy stocks on their phone also know what NextDoor is. I think just the name recognition alone could drive retail investors to buy the stock. How long will it really take before the share price detaches from fundamentals? Not long, I don't think. My specific concern with NextDoor is that a miss on user growth will tank the stock for anybody who buys it at elevated levels. Every company is different, but think back to April of this year. You may have seen that Pinterest tanked hard after reporting 478 million MAUs instead of 480.5. A difference of 1% in user engagement sank the stock 10%. It doesn't matter that Pinterest and NextDoor do very different things. They're kind of both in this bin we should call social media software. And lofty social software multiples can lead to drastic downturns if the street isn't happy. 2020 was a banner year for NextDoor, but user growth and engagement are only set to dwindle from here. And each time this company reports earnings, think back to Pinterest in April. Tell me, do I have this right or wrong? Is it investable? Do you use the app? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. When doing these research projects, it's fun to get exposed to new products. I haven't used this before. This one forced me to download the app, play around with it. I guess I'll need to remember to delete it off my phone now. All right, thanks. Cheers, guys.